What's going on, everyone? Chris Mack coming at you today with the Marvel Legends Professor X Savage Land X-Men action figure. Now, apparently this was a Target exclusive, so if you guys want to pick this up, it is currently sold out. So I highly recommend, as I always say, first and foremost, support your local comic shop and see if anybody has traded it in. If not, you're going to have to go on the secondary market, and good luck, because apparently the price has skyrocketed on this thing. I do want to give a shout out to my homie Anime Figure Statue Collector over on Instagram for hooking me up with this. I appreciate it, brother. Please make sure to go check him out on Instagram, as well as Toymerk and Toymerk's Legion. They're doing some awesome things for the community, always doing weekly collabs and cool giveaways. So make sure to go give them some support. Now, as we can see with this figure, love the old school packaging, the uncanny X-Men with the cool trade dressing there. Awesome artwork of Professor X there. If you all know who the artist is, please let me know down in the comments so we can give them a, what do you call it, a shout out. It does say Safari Suit, Professor X, Savage Land, and then of course the figure. Nothing on the side, it's a blister pack. On the back, we get a cool product displays of how you can pose Xavier. There's a read-up. I'll make sure to get a close-up so you can check it out at your convenience. Again, nothing on the side or the bottoms or the top. So with that said, is this figure worth hunting down? Let's crack open the Professor and get a closer look at him. Now, I could have sworn that when this was released, this was in a comic art, but I'm blonde and I misremembered. Since the hidden prehistoric realm in Antarctica, the Savage Land, has been a significant location for pivotal X-Men event lore. Now, this figure, after doing some digging, is inspired from the 1990s X-Men the Animated Series Season 2, Till Death Do Us Part. Mr. Sinister lures both Professor X and Magneto to the Savage Land under false pretenses. Upon arrival, they discover their mutant powers are suppressed, forcing the two old friends to rely on their wits and physical abilities to survive. This leads to a temporary alliance between the two, highlighting their complicated relationship. At the end of it, Xavier asks Magneto to join him in his work to fight for the betterment of both humanity and mutant kind, and Magneto declines, telling them that they each have their own destiny and that only the future would prove which of them was right. Now, the storyline stretched across much of Season 2 and reaches its climactic conclusion in Episode 12 and 13, Reunion Parts 1 and 2. Professor X was originally voiced by Cedric Smith and then Ross Marquand, I believe is how you pronounce that, for X-Men 97. The closest comic counterpart to this outfit I can find was from X-Men issues 2 and 3 from 1991. So if you're more of a comic book person, this is still going to be up your alley. And then, of course, if you're an animated series and as well as the comics, this is one that you have to have in your collection. The one thing that chaps my hide about this release, though, is the lack of accessories. I mean, he comes with the two closed hands, and then he comes with a, you can call it a gun hand or, just a telekinesis hand so you can put it up to his temple. And then he comes with, weirdly enough, two finger trigger hands. Since he's supposed to be in the Savage Land using crude tools along with Magneto, he should have just been gripping hands instead of finger hands. I don't know. At least we get them. The only other thing that he does come with that's pretty cool is an updated Cerebro helmet. And I like this one compared to the one that came with the deluxe Professor Xavier. This has the more... This gunmetal grade looks good, but this sheen just looks more comic and show accurate. What drives me nuts, though, is with the deluxe Xavier, he came with this, we talked about this, the odd-looking telekinesis power, or telepathy power. And you can plug it into this hole, you can port it. So that way when you put it on Xavier, it looks like he's using his powers, and it does fit on this Xavier, I think. Kind of, sort of in a way. He has a bigger nose, so you have to kind of work it. Ouch! That was my fingernail. Around that big honking nose of his, so you can use that one. And it looks alright. It looks a little awkward. Then, of course, you can put in the effect. Not too bad. But what chaps my hide and why I bring this up is the one that he comes with, even though all the cords look cool and all that jazz, there's a porthole. But because of the way these wires come up to the back, you cannot use it. I tried to futz with it. But because this peg is so small, there's not enough entry to port it, so darn. But still, it's a nice addition, and it looks better on his face. It looks more, again, animated series and comic accurate, in my opinion. That looks great. And then it does fit on the deluxe Professor X as well, I think. A little loose. This head's a little bit smaller, but you can still play around with it and be creative. So we at least have those options. So I'm glad he comes with that. I just wish that he came with a little more. But like I just said, if you do have the deluxe version, which just to compare them real quick, I like that this Professor looks a little more swole, because in the 90s, Professor X always looked a little more muscular. This looks more like the earlier incarnation where he was just more of a headmaster and a little more frail. So both versions, it's cool. I'm glad though that when they made Xavier look a little more tough. But anyway, the reason that I bring these two up, other than love having both the more militaristic look and then the more schoolmaster look, is he came with the other Xavier came with the floating chair, which I know a lot of people have said that this isn't the animated series accurate, which I understand, but still the fact that we get the Shi'ar floating chair that has the spin out accessories, he does fit. You have to kind of finagle his feet a little bit. But you can at least put him in. Now let's see if we can do the other part, the blankets here. Let's see. I haven't tried that yet, so we're going to learn together. Oh, cool. Fits. So, I mean, if you don't want to use the headmaster look, and you want to kind of go more of the 90s where everything was a little more amped up, and Professor X went on a lot more missions, you have these options. So that's awesome with me. Now, talking about the way he looks, let's get him out of the hover chair. Get the blanket off old Chuck there. I don't know. I just prefer this look. Like, when Xavier was having to go to meetings or talking with the news or whatever, like during the Fatal Attractions or during the Executioner song, which are two excellent story comics, by the way. And we are working through. We finished Fatal Attractions. I'm going back now through the Executioner song, so make sure to check those comics out. But Xavier, when he started going out more, especially when Bishop came along, he donned something very similar to this, especially when they were going after Magneto, in just that militaristic green with the awesome X-Men logos. I like that the face is a little more, has kind of a more serious, grim look, as where this one's a little more placid with the Spock eyebrow, as I call it. The gloves look cool. Now, when you swap out the hands, this part here that's supposed to be kind of like the part that rolls over your wrist is loose. So when you swap out the hand, be careful. It does come off. It's a shame that they didn't come with any flesh hands, which I'm sure you could just swap out the Xavier one. So let's see what happens. I haven't tried that yet. See how the flesh tone looks. A little dark, but doable, not bad. So you do have options there. But when you're going to swap out the hands, just put the wrist guard back on. Take whichever power effect you want, or not power effect, I'm sorry, accessory. And then just kind of hide the flesh tone. And you're ready to go. Love that belt. I love that they made sure the clothes look rippled so it doesn't look like it's just straight up painted on. Pockets. One thing about the 90s is even though it looked excessive, the pockets were just a freaking thing back in the day, man. Love those militaristic, what do you call these things? Pants. And then, of course, the gray boots. Just screams that era when X-Men were all over the freaking place. So, yeah, I love everything the way this looks. Now, for articulation, I'm actually really impressed. So, again, warm these figures up. This guy was stiff as a board when I took him out of the blister pack. So he can look down that much, about that far, and you get a lot of play. And I'm glad that they made sure to kind of show the Adam's apples just to kind of get, so it doesn't look like flat plastic. He does twist here. He does do that. Arms do the 360. Though I do wish that a lot of these more newer action figures had the butterfly joint. I wish that would become mandatory on all figures so you can get a fuller range, but it is what it is. Upper bicep, double jointed elbows. These hands, like these, some of these do only rock this way, while the other ones, like the fist hands in particular, do the regular back and forth. So be careful with that. Don't try to force it because it is going to break. Legs split out that much. That forward, that twisty. Butt flap hindrance, as per usual with all the Marvel Legends. Upper thigh cut. Double jointed knees. And a boot cut. And of course the foot up and down and spinny. So if you are an X-Men fan, this is definitely one. Either if you're an animated series fan or a comic fan, this Xavier is freaking awesome. Now for comparisons, here's our Savage Land Professor Xavier in the hover chair, and next to him is the deluxe Xavier that came with this chair that we've already gone over, so I'll make sure to leave a card up here for you guys to check out at your convenience, as well as the X-Men 97's Headmaster Xavier, Magneto, and of course our typical menacing looking Eric Lynch here. And all of these characters look absolutely amazing. One thing that I do like about this body sculpt compared to this one, beefier. This one's a little harder to get to walk, and I think it's they made him a little more lanky so that he would fit in the chair, which I get, but still, having the more buff Xavier, it harkens comic accuracy as well as animated series accuracy. So I love both characters, and I'm glad that we got a suit version, the more battle-ready one, and then of course the crazier one from the Shi'ar that we will eventually be going over. Which of these are your favorite action figures? Are you more prone to read the comics, watch the animated series, or stick with the movies? Let us know. What are you going to do with your action figures? Are you guys going to assign these by teams, like the blue team, the gold team, Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, X-Force, X-Factor? What type of action figure photography are you guys going to do? Send the photos over to our socials. We'd love to see pictures and talk about them with you over, as I just said, on the socials. I had a blast with this figure. I know it's primarily focused on the animated series, but he had the kind of same uniform in the comic books. So having kind of a militaristic Professor Xavier, as well as more of the schoolmaster with his regular suit, I'm one happy little mutant collector. Again, I just want to give a shout out to Anime Statue Collector for sending this my way. Thank you, brother, so much. I've had a blast with this figure, and I'm glad that I finally have it. And with that said, guys, make sure to go give them a follow on Instagram, as well as Toy Mercs, because they're always doing awesome giveaways and awesome stuff with the community weekly. Now, if you've enjoyed what you've seen with this figure, please, first and foremost, as I always say, support your local comic shop and see if you can pick it up, see if someone has traded it in. If not, good luck to you on the secondary market, because for whatever reason, this figure has started to jump up in price. If you've enjoyed what you've seen and really have enjoyed the review, really would appreciate if you take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel more than you could possibly know. And if you mind hitting that fancy little mutant bell, next subscribe, that way I can tip little content, you guys get notified, come to the channel, and I love talking with you on hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments or the socials, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, photo slideshow coming up next. Hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, everyone.